This information was intentionally hidden. The geometry of intention, the self-revelation of the law of energy. Every intention you carry within your inner world leaves its mark on unseen planes like a delicate engraving. It is a pure resonance born beyond thought, where emotion and thought meet. Your intention is like a seal etched into the universal fabric, and once cast, existence itself is rearranged to respond to this seal. This episode follows Ezrin, who has spent years exploring ancient sites. Amidst the deep mountains, in the shadow of a ruined monastery, he found geometric drawings hidden beneath stone pavements. At first, he mistook them for historical ruins, but the structure of the lines hinted at a language forgotten ages ago, the geometry of intention. Ezrin noticed that when his intentions were vague, the lines trembled, and when his inner self became clear, the shapes became fixed. It didn't take long for me to realize this wasn't a hallucination, because clear intention, like an architect's pen, drew the energetic blueprint of the universe. Uncertainty, like a wind disrupting the drawing, scattered it. Intention is the compass that directs energy. Energy is the worker who organizes time and events. Here's why. When you're indecisive, events fall apart. When you're clear, doors open one after another. Every time you change your thoughts, the path is disrupted. When you decide, the universe aligns. If this law falls into the wrong hands, it devolves into manipulation, and chaos. That's why it's been kept secret since ancient times. Because intention isn't just about you. It affects everything it touches. And Ezrin's latest discovery whispered the essence of the manuscripts. Impure intention gives birth to the returning shadow. Chapter 4. The Deep Wells of the Mind, the Silent Program of Beliefs. Inner beliefs are the invisible software behind the scenes of life. Ideas float on the surface. Emotions dictate the flow. But what about belief? Belief is the root that governs the entire system. One of the first to recognize this truth was Ravel, a watchmaker who lived alone. For years, he had clients, but never experienced abundance. One day, he decided to observe his own mind and noticed an inner sentence. Someone like me cannot go very deep. This sentence wasn't just any sentence. It was a hidden program silently guiding his life. When Ravel realized this belief, even the ticking of the clocks changed, because awareness began to unravel the program. When a belief began to unravel, the vibration changes, behaviors transform, choices are renewed. Even the passage of time is felt differently. When Ravel transformed this sentence, his life changed rapidly. This was no coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Belief is the most powerful transmitter released into the universe. If this knowledge fell into the wrong hands, people could manipulate each other's beliefs and control their destinies. That's why this knowledge was hidden, silenced, and sealed away in the deepest recesses of scrolls. Chapter 5. The Law of Energetic Matching. You attract only what you are. While this mysterious law may seem simple on the surface, its depths cannot be deciphered in a lifetime. It's not what you want, but what you are. That's why some people fall into the same cycles again and again. That's why some people open every door easily. And that's why great downfalls can occur after making a wish, because the person is not vibrationally aligned with what they desire. In this chapter, a secret told by the ancient masters is revealed. Resonance is not a choice, it's a state of mind. In other words, the thought of wealth does not make you rich. Love does not come without a sense of worth. Opportunity does not arise without self-confidence. If there is fear, abundance is denied. If this knowledge were in the wrong hands, people would manipulatively try to attract everything they wanted. But the universe operates through harmony, not manipulation. Chapter 6. The bridge between energy and destiny, the frequency of choice. What you perceive as destiny is the collision of choices you make, often unconsciously. A choice is not a simple decision. Every choice generates a frequency, opening one possibility, closing one path, and revealing another. Lyra, one of the first to understand this truth, dedicated her life to observing her choices. One day, she made a seemingly random decision. She decided to go to a different supermarket instead of the one she had been shopping at for years. An ordinary moment. But someone she met that day changed her entire life. This encounter was no coincidence. For that morning, Lyra had experienced a realization that shifted her inner frequency. When the frequency shifted, so did the people she encountered. Selection, frequency, event generation. This is the true architecture of the universe. Part 2. Finding your unique energy frequency, a deeper and more advanced version. Walking deep within a primeval cedar forest, Juniper felt lonely but never isolated. On the contrary, she was in silent harmony with the fabric of existence. The light filtering through the trees seemed to remind her of an invisible rhythm. In that moment, she realized something beyond her thoughts or emotions. She possessed a unique frequency within the universal choreography. We all possess an energetic signature within us, resonating throughout the universe. This frequency is not a symbolic concept. It is a real vibration that shapes the contours of our destiny. Therefore, some paths feel natural and fluid, while others create resistance. The fact that some possibilities are drawn to us while others flow past us points to the same truth. Our energetic signature operates like a fingerprint in the universal matrix. It is neither good nor bad, neither high nor low. It simply exists and orchestrates the symphony with its very existence. When Juniper grasped this, she began to recognize patterns in her own life. She saw that when she didn't treat the universe the way she did, when she imitated the behaviors and tactics of others, her frequency was disrupted. Interestingly, opportunities turned against her during the time she adopted the methods and aggressive strategies of wealthy merchants. What she finally realized was simple yet revolutionary. The universe responds to sincerity, not performance. And when she returned to her true self, unexpected clients began to find her. Because cosmic resonance is governed by a single law. When you align with organic vibration, life begins to flow. When you try to align with someone else's frequency, your capacity for materialization is disrupted. True transformation lies not in trying to change your frequency, but in respecting it. That's why ancient traditions teach a practice. Ancient practice, returning to organic resonance. Find a quiet and safe place. Close your eyes. Feel the natural rhythm of your existence, your own organic vibration. Not your thoughts, not your emotions. The fundamental vibration of who you are. This vibration is the true channel through which the universe communicates with you. Spend even a short time here each day. It strengthens and clarifies your own frequency, and the paths that are right for you open much more naturally. Echoes of silent faith. Hidden beliefs that block manifestation. Fiona sat alone in her contemplation chamber, gazing into the flickering shadow of candlelight. Prosperity flows to me effortlessly, she repeated. But her material reality told a completely different story. Every time an opportunity approached, an invisible force seemed to pull her back. This revealed one of the fundamental laws of the universe. Silent beliefs are far more powerful than spoken words. Whether your tongue says abundance or your inner program says lack, this is the whisper the universe listens for. These beliefs are like invisible software running in the background of our consciousness. They are shaped by childhood, culture, past wounds, and intense emotions. They then govern our entire lives. Harland, a wandering artist living in the mountains of Tibet, discovered the same truth. He had a program he didn't even know existed. True success is only achieved through pain. This belief crushed him for years, sabotaging natural opportunities and blocking easy flows. Until one morning, sitting under an old tree near a mountain monastery, he dared to ask himself, what if success could come without pain? This single question created a small gap in his program, and this small gap completely changed the course of his life. His work quickly began to reach a wide audience, because when a single belief changes, the entire timeline changes. Beliefs are not our enemy. They are like winter clothes that once protected us, but some are no longer useful. The trick is not to fight them, but to bring them into the light of consciousness. Ancient practice. Soft revelation. Sit in a quiet place. Place one hand on your heart. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what do I believe is possible for me? As the answers emerge, don't judge them. Just notice them. Give them compassion. Let them warm, just like cuddling a cold child. The warmth of awareness softens rigid beliefs, and when belief softens, new possibilities naturally begin to emerge. Chapter 3. The Secret Synchronization of Longing and Deserving. Think of your beliefs as invisible software running in the background of your mind. It may be hard to see, but each one silently determines what experiences will occur in your life. The story of Maisie, who lived in a peaceful corner of a remote settlement, subtly illustrates this truth. Her fingers, weaving delicate tapestries, were actually woven into the fabric of her deepest longings. Her dream was to showcase her craft to the world. Her work was unique, her labor profound. But when the time came to showcase it, she would always retreat. Deep within her heart lay an unspoken certainty. I don't deserve this. This is where the quietest law of the universe comes into play. The universe responds not to what you say out loud, but to what you firmly believe within yourself. When longing meets unworthiness, tension rises like two magnets repelling each other. When your conscious desires demand something and your subconscious belief says no, an invisible lock appears. Because of this conflict, your deepest longings hang in the shadow of unfulfilled dreams. Maisie wasn't alone in this. A talented musician named Gideon had been playing in empty taverns for years. His music was captivating, but he had a deep-seated belief. Success is for others, not for me. One night, as he played a piece he'd composed by moonlight, tears welled up in his eyes. In that moment, something changed. For the first time, he felt worthy of the melody rising from within him. And in that moment, the universe responded. Within weeks, invitations poured in. Prestigious stages opened their doors, and people admired his work. because the law of attraction works when longing and a sense of entitlement meet. When these two elements come together, the universe opens a door and possibilities become visible. Your beliefs are like a key that unlocks your desires. If the key fits, the door opens. If it doesn't fit, the door remains closed. An ancient practice, awakening a well-deserved longing. Sit in a peaceful place. Gently bring a longing you carry in your heart into your consciousness. Don't force it. Just stay in the moment. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, I deserve this longing. Let this sentence sink in like rain. Hold your longing with compassion, as if embracing a close friend. Allow yourself to feel that you deserve it. This feeling is the most powerful message you can send to the universe. The power you project before you speak. Sometimes, even before you speak, your energy speaks to those around you. Della, a merchant's daughter, realized this at a young age. Some days, people would approach her with smiles, while others would immediately walk away. But her greeting, tone of voice, and demeanor were always the same. What he realized was this: it wasn't language that attracted or repelled people, but an invisible force, their inner state. If their hearts were open, the market would move. If their hearts were filled with distress, people would drift away without even realizing it. The universe hears your energy before your tongue does. Expression is merely a carrier of energy. Real impact spreads before words. Thatcher, the shepherd in his mountain village, had also been caught up in arguments for years. He always spoke defensively, trying to be right, so every conversation would turn into a conflict. One day, as he watched the sunrise, he suddenly realized he entered conversations as if they were fighting. That day, he made a different choice. He remembered that intention, not language, came first. He stepped into a shared discovery, not a battle. And that day, everything changed. Conflicts turned into solutions. Doors that were previously locked opened on their own. Because the hidden law of the universe is this: the energy you bring to an interaction is far more powerful than the words you speak. Ancient practice, clearing the field of existence. Find a brief moment before starting a new day. Calm your entire mind. Feel the energy radiating from your being without trying to change anything. Ask yourself, is my energy narrow today? Is it open? Is it defensive? Is it inviting? Let your breath soften the fluctuations in your energy. Feel yourself like still water reflecting the sky. Let the waves calm. This stillness creates an invisible field of possibility around you throughout the day. And remember, the world responds not to your words, but to the silent echo of your energy. Chapter 4: Communication with the Unseen. You don't always need to talk to someone to understand them. In fact, the truth often emerges in the moments when they don't speak at all. Because the invisible, frequencies, intentions, energy, emotions, and the subconscious are the silent architects of every choice a person makes. Sometimes we call it intuition, sometimes a sixth sense, or even something happened inside me. But in reality, it's the hidden communication a person radiates to the outside world through their vibrations. This communication is more powerful than words because words can be masked, but energy doesn't accept masks. A person may say, "I'm fine," but their frequency whispers the truth at that moment. A person may smile, but the pain, anger, or resentment beneath their smile is felt like an atmosphere. That's why you trust some people before meeting them, while you avoid others without reason. Because energy precedes words. The body speaks before the subconscious. Every person carries a frequency wherever they walk. This frequency is an invisible signature composed of past experiences, repressed emotions, dreams, fears, consistency, and character. Whether we realize it or not, this signature connects with the subconscious of others within seconds. Words aren't necessary for one soul to recognize another. A seconds-long vibrational shift is all it takes. That's why some people find peace when they enter a room, while others feel weighed down. Some motivate you, while others drain your energy. Even if you don't want to talk to some people, sitting next to them is enough. For others, a mere glance is enough to consume you. None of this is chance. It's an invisible communication. This silent communication isn't limited to people. It connects with time, events, possibilities, and even your destiny. Because the universe responds to your frequency. Therefore, a person with a strong, solid, clear, and balanced vibration unknowingly opens doors in their life. Opportunities begin to form around people and the right timing. Because that person doesn't just speak. Their presence, their intentions, their posture, even their silence sends a message. I am ready. Similarly, someone with lower vibrations like fear, insecurity, anger, jealousy, and unworthiness unknowingly limits their own destiny. The energy they emit is at war with the universe. No matter how much you want it, the frequency won't allow it. It's like trying to find the right frequency with a broken radio. The song you want isn't playing because you're out of sync with the broadcast. All of this depends on how much control a person has within themselves. Their emotions, their thoughts, their patience, their breathing. If a person can't manage their inner self, they can't manage anything outside. That's why the greatest power is the quietest power, because it controls the inside, not the outside. It's invisible, but effective. It's quiet, but determined. Most of the powerful people around you have one thing in common. They don't rush. They don't shout. They don't constantly seek proof. They don't feel the need to glorify themselves, because they know that true power lies not in the volume of their voice, but in the depth of their frequency. A person's energy, not their words, commands respect. The real danger is this: when all this information is conveyed to the wrong minds, it turns into manipulation. Because someone who understands invisible communication can also learn to manipulate the emotions of others. They can sense people's trust, their fears, their emptiness, their needs. Yes, this knowledge can be used to heal, inspire, and enlighten a society. But in the hands of someone with malicious intent, it becomes an invisible weapon. That's why not all knowledge is given to everyone. That's why they say, think twice. Because understanding the power of frequency, the influence of consciousness, and how emotions bend the timeline lifts you out of the ordinary. But it also carries a great responsibility. The more you know, the more careful you must be, because the invisible is the most powerful. Ultimately, if you want to be truly powerful in your life, you must first encounter the silent power. You must learn to manage your inner vibration, not the external world. Because the unseen, your thoughts, intentions, emotions, your consciousness, are the true architects of your destiny. And someone who understands this begins to change the world within themselves. Because true communication doesn't occur with eyes or words. It takes place in the deep layers of frequency. And this silent designer speaks to you every moment of your life. Chapter 5. Understanding the language of silence. Reality isn't shaped solely by lofty thoughts, complex plans, or the noisy ideas swirling around in our minds, as many people believe. The real secret lies in the spaces between these thoughts. When the mind is quiet, understanding flows naturally like water flowing down mountain slopes, pure, clear, and untouched. Once upon a time, in a small town, there was a weaver named Alma. She spent her days in a mind filled with endless chatter. Her thoughts became tangled threads, knotted knots, and her inner world a labyrinth of constant tension. But one morning, as she sat breathless at her loom, she did something, stopped. A single breath, and all the noise in her mind quieted, if only for a moment. In that moment, she witnessed something she had never noticed before. The pattern she was weaving was in perfect harmony with the sunlight rising through the window. This was no coincidence. It was the elegant synchronicity of the universe. When the mind calms, reality reveals itself. As Alma calmed down, more signals began to emerge. The melody of the birds mingled with the rhythm of weaving. Someone she suddenly encountered spoke just the right word. The direction of her steps seemed to be determined by an invisible hand. She had stepped into a truth well known to the ancients. When your inner voice finds peace, the voice of the universe becomes transparent, just as still water can reflect the stars in the sky. When you find a moment of stillness within, the signs of the universe find space to emerge. Florian, a wandering scholar, had discovered the same law in his own way. Every day, his mind overflowed with dozens of theories, worries, and analyses. Thoughts scattered like colliding grains of dust, losing his ability to focus. One evening, exhausted by all this mental turmoil, he paused. And for the first time, he stepped into his own silence. At that moment, his eyes fell on the bookshelf, a pattern he hadn't noticed for months. When the books came together, they formed a sentence that completed the insight he was seeking. It was as if the universe were whispering to him, "What you can hear is real, not what you think you hear." As Florian multiplied his moments of silence, invisible patterns became more apparent. Rhythms in nature, repeating numbers, strange yet meaningful coincidences that crossed his path. They were all part of a whole. You don't need grand rituals to embrace this law in your life. All you need to do is create a moment of silence during the day. Allow the thoughts in your mind to settle naturally, like leaves floating on the bottom of a pond. It is in this quiet space that the true signals begin to reveal themselves. A sequence of numbers, a sentence, a pattern, an encounter. They all say the same thing. The universe speaks the language of silence. Respecting this language begins with knowing it. Energetic certainty, feelings that shapes reality. The universe doesn't shout at us loudly. Its messages are subtle, gentle, and so delicate that they go unnoticed at first glance. But these whispers, when read correctly, are worth the weight of a mountain. Prudence discovered this painfully. At dawn, she would pray for more abundance in her garden, but her wishes were vague, hazy, and formless. The universe responded, but not in the way she had hoped. Excesses, piles of responsibilities, or exhausting, complicated paths began to appear in her life. This experience taught her a fundamental truth. the universe hears crystal clear emotions, not vague desires. A painter doesn't just want color. They must choose their tone, temperature, and saturation. Our emotions are the same. The clearer the emotional resonance, the more perfect the embodiment. Edwin discovered this law in his creative work. He longed for success, but his desire was clouded. He experienced short highs, followed by long lows, until one day he redefined the emotional equivalent of success within himself. No jealousy, no suppressed ambition, only the deep satisfaction of creation. With this feeling, paths opened, the right people came into contact with him, and the universe responded to his clarity. Because when emotions are clear, destiny becomes clear. The rule is simple. Muddy emotions create cloudy experiences. Clear emotions create clear reality. Chapter 6. Surrender, the door that opens true power. Clara encountered the same obstacle when trying to manifest her desires. Every morning, she would look in the mirror and state her goals with a heavy heart. Her facial muscles were tense. Her shoulders were taut. Her breathing labored. The greater her desires, the harder they were to achieve. The universe has a subtle paradox. The tighter you hold on, the more it recedes. Prosperity is a flow that must flow. When you force it, the channel narrows. The old masters had taught a simple lesson. Set your intention clearly, then let go. The key is not to ignore, but to trust. Benton understood this in his professional life. He planned every step, controlled every detail, and missed nothing. But one evening, he realized that all this desire for control was consuming him. And for the first time, he let go. I did the best I could. The rest belongs to the universe, he said. From that moment on, his life changed. Encounters accelerated, opportunities arose, and unexpected paths opened up. Because his grip had loosened, now the wind could push him. True strength lies not in holding tightly, but in relaxing in the right place. Final exercise, holding yourself with open palms. Find a peaceful space. Think of a desire you're holding tightly. Notice the tension it creates in your body, in your jaw, your shoulder, your breath. Now take a breath and imagine holding your desire in your hands like a small, delicate butterfly. If you tighten it, it dies. If you let go, it flies. But with your palms open, it lands whenever it wants. This is precisely the relationship with the universe. What belongs to you doesn't miss you. What comes by force has never been yours. Chapter 7. Think twice before learning. Consciousness is a far more powerful tool than most people realize. In the hands of its owner, it's a tool that opens a door. But in the hands of an unprepared mind, that same door can close. Therefore, there are certain truths one must ask oneself before learning. Am I ready for this? Because the laws of the universe do not apply equally to everyone. They are even stricter to those who don't approach them. Therefore, it's not the knowledge itself that is dangerous, but the quality of the mind that carries it. One of the first to discover this was Mirel, who lived in a small town. Mirel was amazed by the power of manifestation. When she learned that thought, vibration, and focus could change lives, nothing could quench her enthusiasm. However, her biggest mistake was mistaking the knowledge she learned for power. After a while, she tried to obtain what she wanted by force, to control, to impose, and to suppress. She opened the door to knowledge, but forgot to open her consciousness. Ultimately, she realized that all the power she had tried to serve her had been reversed and transformed into a mirror of her own inner disorder. The hidden law of the universe reveals itself precisely here. When intention is impure, energy does not increase. It magnifies chaos. Elro was one of those who discovered this truth from a different perspective. Throughout his life, Elro was a quiet, deep thinker. One day, he encountered what people call mind power, but he took the time to learn. He didn't try to expand the truth without expanding himself. First, he untangled the knots within himself. He simplified his intention. He confronted his fears. Then, step by step, he began to use and assimilate the knowledge he was learning. Ultimately, this knowledge had the opposite effect on Mirelle. It opened her path, clarified her life, and provided her with the right guidance. The difference between the two was this: one sought knowledge for power, the other for self-empowerment. As we delve deeper into this section, we must understand another law. Universal knowledge expands the mind, but it does not benefit those who narrow the heart. For when the heart contracts, energy contracts. When energy contracts, manifestation is disrupted. That's why some people can achieve what they desire, while others can move forward in life with minimal effort. Once upon a time, there was a young woman named Lyra. For a long time, she tried to understand why her wishes weren't coming true. She attended classes, read books, and practiced techniques. But she got nowhere. Until one night, she had a clear realization. She wanted something with her mind, but at the same time, she was avoiding it with her heart. She wanted something to happen, but she was also afraid. She wanted something, but she felt unworthy of it. This conflict is one of the most dangerous knots that hinders the functioning of the universe. The universe reacts simultaneously to both "I want" and "I'm afraid it will happen." The latter is usually stronger. Herein lies the danger of this knowledge. If a person begins to use laws without recognizing their inner conflict, they deepen their own confusion. When consciousness is scattered, so are the consequences. When emotions are scattered, so is the future. When the inner compass is disrupted, the paths become tangled. One morning, Oren, an old sage living in a remote village, prepared 3 bowls of water to teach his students. He added salt to one, honey to another, and nothing to the third. Then he said, "The mind is like salt. It either sweetens or bitters. The heart is like honey. It tempers the power of the mind. The soul is pure water. It demands clarity." When an impure mind encounters the pure laws of the universe, it creates chaos like mud falling into water. Knowledge is not dangerous. The one whose consciousness is clouded is. He then added, "Therefore, true power lies in destroying oneself before destroying the universe." That is why this knowledge is dangerous in the wrong hands. Because it destroys weak structures and amplifies strong ones. It increases confusion or expands peace. It elevates its possessor or magnifies the shadows within. The way to determine whether you are ready to use this knowledge is very simple. If your intention is pure, knowledge will open doors for you. If your intentions are based on fear, anger, jealousy, or a desire to prove something, you must first transform yourself. For these laws to work, both your heart and mind must be in harmony. Remember this: the universe responds to your vibrations, not your words. If your vibrations are mixed, the results are mixed. If your vibration is clear, your path will be clear. And perhaps the most important truth you need to know is this. Chapter 8. The Silent Language of Inner Consciousness. This truth resonates as deeply as humanity's oldest memories. That subtle intuition that vibrates deep within your heart is not merely the product of thought. It is an ancient signature left within us by the universe. Flora was one of those who opened the door to this ancient wisdom. As she lived her daily life, she noticed a pattern. Those gentle nudges that logic could not explain, but the soul already knew were emerging. These were not shouted instructions, but subtle calls, like a gentle drop falling into still water. Something you could hear if you paid attention. One morning, as she prepared for an important meeting, a voice within her told her to follow another path. "This path is longer," her mind replied. But her profound wisdom already knew the answer. She followed that path and encountered someone who seemed like a coincidence, but who was actually meticulously orchestrated by the universe. Someone who held the key to her life's next step. This was no coincidence, but a perfect arrangement. The universe often speaks not through noise, but through the silent yes and no's within you. These signals are a kind of energetic compass that guides you along the path of least resistance. When you learn this language, you join the flow of universal intelligence. Baxter came to this realization in her own way. After months of making rational career decisions, she was exhausted. One morning, as she sat quietly, she felt a slight tug. It wasn't dramatic. It was just right. She followed that whisper, and new doors opened in her life that no plan could reach. Here's the real secret. True inspiration comes not from force, but from synchronicity. If you're in harmony with your soul, the universe doesn't push you. It gently guides you. The energetic mirror of connections. There's a saying in ancient texts, every person experiences an echo of their own inner state. Nellie realized this truth in her work life. When she was feeling down, even the most cheerful people would distance themselves from her. But when she found inner peace, those same people would approach her with warmth. Because the universe responds not to your words, but to your energetic signature. A neighbor who constantly criticizes you is a sign of your judgmental inner voice. Someone who bothers you reveals your need to be seen as unacceptable. Every encounter reflects an unhealed area within you. For years, Irving lived with the belief that no one truly appreciates me, and the universe repeatedly demonstrated this expectation to him. But one day, sitting quietly, he realized the weight of self-rejection. When he began to accept himself, people began to treat him differently. The universe reflected its new frequency with flawless accuracy. It's not others you need to transform, but the vibration you emit. The secret transmission of forgiveness. Sitting under an oak tree, one autumn evening, Clementine finally realized the truth. Forgiveness isn't about justifying what happened. Forgiveness is about cutting the energy chains that bind you to the past. The more she clung to past hurts, the less future abundance would reach her. Because every old wound was like an invisible wall blocking the entrance of new possibilities. The universe doesn't punish, but whatever frequency you occupy, that frequency increases. PCL also blamed herself for the mistakes she made in her youth for years. "I should have known better." He repeatedly beat himself up. This self-blame created a thick fog around his life. Until one morning, as he watched the sunrise on the horizon, He forgave his younger self. After forgiveness, surprising coincidences began to occur in his life. People began to help him. New opportunities arose, and old problems resolved themselves because the universe responded instantly to his new communication. Forgiveness opened up space for miracles to flow. Remember, the universe works for you, not against you. But aligning with it requires hearing the signal, not the noise. When you become silent, signs appear. When you feel clear, pathways open. When you let go, what is yours flows toward you. True transformation begins in this final active state, from within, not from without. And remember, the right energy requires the right timing.